Hey guys, hope you're well. Hope you've had a good week so far. As you can see, the beard has gone. In my spare time, well, not my spare time, I work as a professional actor as well as the jobs that I do. So yeah, in the middle of the night shift. So apologies if the audio is quiet. I do apologise for that. So yeah, just wanted to do a match preview. Had some requests from people on private when I'm going to come back on the channel and do a preview for Huddersfield. Also a few comments that I've seen as well. So I just thought I'd do a video really previewing the last week or so. There's a lot that's happened in Barnsley. Football club terms, it's never dull. So I just wanted to get into it really. So first of all, we've had two signings this week. One today. So the first signing, Marcel Ritzmaier from Wolfsberger. Watching the preview for the Huddersfield game, they included the lads. Echo most of what they said. I feel is a decent signing. I think at the end of the day, it doesn't matter where he's come from. If he can offer us something that's going to make us better as a team, then I think it's a good signing. You know, he's got Europa League experience. He's playing with a very successful side in Wolfsberger that's really overachieved in the Austrian Bundesliga in the last 2 seasons. He knows Gerhard Struber obviously professionally from his time in Austria together, and it's a big statement of intent from Struber, requesting somebody that he's worked with previously, must clearly rate him, and as well he was involved in the PSV Eindhoven setup when he was younger, and not, you know, there's no monks that come through with that setup unless you're a good footballer. So it's a decent signing for me. Hopefully he can have a good influence in the midfield. Makes sense with Cameron McGee going to Portsmouth as well. And I felt that we needed a bit of creativity in the midfield, if I'm being brutally honest. I think at Derby it was a bit evident that we missed a bit of creativity. I felt we were getting to areas on the edge of the box and just not having that final pass to split open a defence. I think sometimes we are guilty at times of just not having that final cutting pass to open up a team. And looking at the clips of Ritzmaier online, he looks like a very composed, good technical player. Seems to suit Struber's system well, and Struber echoed them thoughts and comments that I've just said in his press conference for Huddersfield, saying that he can fit into the system really quickly. And it's a good signing. Obviously don't know the fee, probably going to be undisclosed. I don't imagine it'll be that big. The Patrick Schmidt one was around 750, so I think it'll be around $500,000. Signed a 2.5-year contract, and hopefully he can stay for longer than that. I think it's an option of a further year as well if he stays for them to full 2.5 years. So yeah, it's a good signing for me, and get him in there for Saturday. And also we've had Kilian Ludwig from Red Bull Salzburg, who are currently top of the Austrian Bundesliga. Really impressed me in the Champions League, their first team squad, and they're renowned for bringing young players through the academy and letting them have a good go in the first team. Red Bull, in terms of Leipzig as well, they're two of the bright lights in Europe at the minute, emerging new sides in Europe. And as we've seen with the likes of Minamino, who's gone to Liverpool, and Haaland, who was interested in the likes of Man United and Man City, eventually went to Borussia Dortmund, that they're bringing good players through the academy. Again, another player that Struber knows personally, worked with him. And let me say this, if you're capped at German youth level internationally, you know, Mug, they don't just let anybody play for Germany. They're very renowned for bringing young, good defenders through. And as Luke and James said on their video for when Ludwig was announced, you know, Germans are renowned for bringing good young fullbacks through, and you know, he can play both right and left back apparently, so that's good for us in terms of his versatility. I felt that we needed to cover that area. In an ideal world I would have brought somebody in that's maybe got a bit of experience playing in England, because right back for me is an area that I feel that we've not struggled in recent times, but I feel that there's inconsistencies, especially obviously with Cavari, who was not featuring, and when he were featuring, he weren't good enough over the course of 3 or 4 games. 1 minute he'd be great, and the next minute he were awful. And the same goes to Jordan Williams. Again, I think at maximum he's a 7 out of 10. I don't think he's ready yet to be an out and out, week in week out championship player, which I feel why he needed a bit of competition there if Cavari was going to leave the club, if he weren't in Struber's plans. So I think it's a good, decent signing. Again, I think he'll feature for the Huddersfield game if the paperwork's complete and sorted out in time. Maybe might see him on the bench, might see him start, but I think we needed that signing in terms of numbers and also in terms of strength in depth and competition for places. So yeah, they're the two signings for this week. So the player that has gone, Cameron McGeehan, not surprised really. I mean, if it were picking a midfielder to go, it'd be Mike Bearer. I'd pack him up in a little box and send him to DHL and send him up to Edinburgh, if I'm being brutally honest. McGeehan offers more, but it is what it is. McGeehan wants first team football, and you can't blame him. And sometimes when a new manager comes in, some players just get frozen out of the picture, and Struber said that he needs to get game time, and McGeehan had a lot of injuries for a young midfielder, and I hope he does well at Portsmouth. They've still got a chance of making playoffs in League One, and I know he's from down south originally, so it might suit him as well, just to be closer to his family for a bit. And again, I've got to agree with what Luke's saying. There could be a thing why we haven't sold him permanently, due to the pure fact that if we do get relegated, we could lose Mowat. So McGeehan could be somebody that we could use next season. So I hope McGeehan does well. I like McGeehan, 100% all the time. He puts everything in for the shirt. And I just think it's his consistency at this level that's just let him down. I think obviously he were in Stendel's plans at the start of the season when we first got promoted, and he really hasn't pushed on and shown consistently that he can do it. I just think maybe the standard's a bit too high for him. But I like McGeehan. I think he's a top lad, always gives it 100% no matter what for the shirt, so you can't blame him for that. It's just one of those things, innit? I still feel we need another midfielder though, whether it's a box-to-box midfielder. I don't think Ritz Meyer is that. He seems more of a creative player. Maybe for me, maybe a right winger, if we let Tiam and Wilkes go. So players that I feel we need to bring in now as a centre defender, that's a priority. And a striker, maybe a target man. Gary Medine, being released by Cardiff, he's one. Billy Sharp, how we're not looking at, I know we're not going to, these are the type of players that I ideally would like. Strikers that have been at this level, that know how to find the back of the net. More obscure signings for me would be Owen Doyle, who's just been on loan at Swindon in League 2. He's gone back to Bradford. I'm sure Bradford will want him for their promotion push, but look, they're in League 2, we're in the Championship. We'll probably be offering slightly higher wages than Bradford, even though they are a big team for League 2. And they've still got a lot of money in their finances, so he scored 23 goals in League 2 on loan in 22 goals in 23 games. Ideally in January, if you're looking for a striker, you're wanting a striker that can come in, hit the ground running, and be an asset and be a benefit to your team, rather than taking 2 or 3 months to adapt. And as well as a centre-back, striker and a right winger, if we let Tiam and Wilkes go, which I imagine will happen in the next few weeks before the end of the January window. Because I think we need some right-footed midfielders on the right-hand side, because Brownie seems to be utilising more as a striker. So Huddersfield, reviewing Huddersfield, it's going to be a tough game. Again, who's echoing a lot with what Craig and Luke and the lads said, really. For me, I think it's a must-win game. I know Huddersfield are 7 points off the relegation zone, but I think it drags them back into it. I think football's a funny old game. 2 or 3 straight defeats. And if you're at the wrong end of the table, you get dragged back into the mire. There's also Birmingham that are looking like they're going to get a points deduction sometime soon, by the looks of things, from the EFL. And Charlton as well. Their league form's poor, and they're looking like Lyle Taylor's going to be leaving by the end of the window. And for me, if they had any chance of staying up consistently and not fighting a relegation battle, they had to keep Lyle Taylor and get him onto a new contract, and that's not going to happen. So there's other teams that are going to be involved by the end of May, and I think as long as we stay in with a shout, we've got a chance. I feel a lot more confident now Struber is here. I had my doubts at first, I'm sure everybody did, let's not lie about it, but he's come in, he's got the lads playing, he's got the work rate back, he's got the belief back in the lads, a bit of confidence. It's funny what a couple of old wins can do, innit? And I feel we've been playing okay. I think them fixtures in a short space of time over the Christmas period did take its effect. I think even against Crewe we did look tired at times. I ideally would have liked us to have rested a few more players and give the likes of Styles a chance, and maybe a few others, just to give him some game time, and also just to rest a few of the more permanent mainstay lads who play week in, week out, and just let him be fresh fully for Huddersfield. Looking at the likes of Mowat and Chaplin and Ottawa and Bambo, players like that I felt could have had a full 90 minutes rest, but it is what it is. They've had a full 6 days rest, and hopefully that win at Crewe will give them a bit more confidence and get some momentum. Yeah, it's in the Cup. Cup and League are different. Obviously we're prioritising the League, but at the end of the day, a win's a win, and it's better to go in with a win than a loss, or having to do a replay, which again would be a disastrous result. So Huddersfield's a winnable game. They're going to be a difficult prospect. I imagine Cowley 11 well organised. That's a mainstay of his structure as a coach. He tries to get his teams organised. He did really well at Lincoln, didn't he? In League Two, got them promoted and left them in a better state than when he joined. Did really well in the National League as well. I can't remember who he was with, but I know that he did really well to attract the attention of Lincoln, and then managed to get them up to League One. So he's had success wherever he's been. The Championship's an hard league. You know, I think that's they had the initial new manager's bounce when he came in. Got some good results, including a 2-1 win against us in October. We didn't really turn up that day at all. I don't think we've turned up to any derby except the Leeds game. We were lost 2-0. The effort was there that day, but the Sheffield Wednesday and Huddersfield games we didn't turn up, did we, at all, if we're being brutally honest. But for me, it's a winnable game. Huddersfield coming off 2 defeats, including heavy league defeat against Stoke at home, as we did as well. So we can't really say anything, but they've got goals in them. Carlin Grant's a very good player. Steve Mounier as well has managed to get some goals. He was a big money signing when they went into the Premier League and hasn't really hit the heights I'm sure Huddersfield fans are expecting. But he's still a threat. He's got some goals, and Championship is a decent striker. Fraser Campbell as well. I don't know if he's not, so excuse me if he is injured or suspended or whatever, but he's still a very good striker at this level. Bakuna, they've got Kachunga. They've got some good players in the side going forward. Looking like they're getting Emile Smith-Rowe as well, so hopefully he won't be there in time from Arsenal. Midfielder who's at Arsenal, young midfielder. So Huddersfield, I think they'll stay up. They've got too much quality. They've still got the parachute payments from the Premier League, so I'm sure they'll make sure that they'll not go down. For me, this season for Huddersfield, it's about just really prioritising staying in the league and then consolidating for next year and then going on maybe the year after. Bit of a long-term project. I don't expect Huddersfield to be in the promotion picture in the next 1 or 2 years. If we're being brutally honest, I think they did well to get 2 years in the Premier League. And that's me knowing Huddersfield fans. They are a realistic bunch. That's not me being cruel to Huddersfield at all as a football club. I think they did really well in the Premier League. You know, people had a go at the playing style, but what do you do when you're down bottom end of the table? Look at Burnley. You find a way to survive, don't you? And they did initially under Wagner, and then they obviously had Jan Sievert. It didn't really work out, and they've gone for English, Danny Cowley, and I'm sure he's having more of an influence in the signings, the recruitment side of things. They changed it around in the recruitment side, got a new chairman in, so it's been a transitional period for Huddersfield, and I'm sure them staying in the league is a priority for them, and them getting something this week will be a priority for them as well to get back to winning ways. I think in terms of getting a point, I think Huddersfield would be the more happy if they left up well with a point, because they've gone away from home in a local derby and not lost. For us, it's about making sure that we win, making sure that even if other teams win that are around us, even if they win, we just got to match them. We've got to make sure that we capitalise on any teams dropping points. So I'm sure we'll be having half an eye on Luton, Wigan and Stoke. But also you've got to consider Birmingham and Charlton as well, that are going to be creeping into it as the months tick on till the end of the season. But for us, it's just about focusing on ourselves, playing the game, not the occasion, sorry. Making sure that we start quick, as we do start quick. Generally in games we do start well, so making sure we do start quick and trying to get an early goal and put them under the cosh. And you know, if we are on top and we get numerous chances, we've got to be clinical and take them. We've got to keep it simple at the back. I'd love us to get a clean sheet at home. That's something that's been obviously missing throughout the season. That's something that we all know that we have to strengthen and sort out, is the defence. We've got to learn from his mistakes. We can't keep making the same individual errors week after week. You know, it's fair enough if a team scores against you, but at least make them work for the goal. Don't be gifting them goals and gifting them opportunities to score goals, because you're never going to win a game when you do that. So the team for me would be Radlinger in goal, Ottawa at left back. I'd put Appelhalmer alongside Diaby. I just think he's more assured at centre back than Anderson is. He's more of a footballer. I think his height as well from set pieces offers us more going forward. And he also chips in with a few goals, doesn't he? And I'd have Bambo there. Right back, I don't know whether if he'd start Ludwig or not. Don't know, maybe give him a go. If not, at least put him on the bench. So it's between him and Jordan Williams at right back. Midfield, I'd have Dougal sitting. Mowat, I'd start Ritzmaier, give him a chance. And obviously I would have started Woodrow, but he's not fit. So we're going to go Chaplin, Brown, and he'll probably go Beira or Simoes. For me, Thomas needs to have a bit of a rest. I think he's more of an impact player. I think he has more of a positive effect on us as a team and also as a player coming off the bench. I think because when he comes off the bench with half an hour to go in the game, I think that's when defences are stretched. I think that's when defences are tired. They're more likely to give fouls away, especially if they're on yellow cards. That's more likely to impact us on a positive note. And I think Thomas has a bit more influence on a game. It's a bit more noted the way I've seen it compared when he plays the full 90 minutes. I know that confidence will have grown getting that goal against Crewe at the end last week in the Cup. But for me, he's somebody that needs to come off the bench and more of an impact player. So that's the team for me. Hopefully we can get the win. I'm going to go for a 2-1 win to Barnsley. Goal scorers Chaplin and Brown. Look, I'd be happy with 3 points. Even if we get a point and a decent performance, I'd be disappointed, but not obviously disappointed as a defeat. Just, we've got to be winning. These are the winnable games we've got to be picking up, making sure that we're making Oakwell a fortress and making sure that whoever comes to Oakwell, they're going to get a tough 90 minutes, as did West Brom when we played them on Boxing Day. So it's a good chance to get us back to winning ways in the league. There are a lot of away trips coming up, including the Cup at Portsmouth. But prioritising the league, we've got Bristol City and Charlton next couple of weeks, including a tough home game against Preston. So Huddersfield, if you're looking at it on paper, it's a winnable game. Yorkshire derby, form goes out the window, doesn't it? It's whoever turns up on the day. So we've got to want it, have that same work ethic and that same desire as we did against West Brom, and that same character to stay in the game. Don't gift them any chances, make them work for everything, put them under the cosh, make them feel the heat, get stuck in and play your own game, keep it on the floor, because as the lad said and as we all know, we ain't got the biggest of forwards. So let's keep it on the floor, work through the channels, keep it nice and quick, transitions, not take 40 days to pass the ball. Let's one at the feet, pass. Simple as that. I know it sounds simple, but it is. So let's keep it simple, play in their half. I know people say, oh, you make it sound easy. Well, it is football. Messi makes it look easy because it is. He just knows what to do before the ball comes to him. So we've just got to have a bit of confidence, gamble, believe in themselves, and I'm sure we can get the win. We've known we've got good results this season at home when it's mattered. QPR and Hull come to mind, and also West Brom. So I'm sure the lads can turn it on. Just hopefully it can be for 90 minutes and we can put in a good performance. But the result's the main thing. Get over the line, get the 3 points, move on. So that's from me, guys. I hope you've enjoyed this little video in my work setting. Again, I apologise, it's not more professional than at home. I just thought I'd do a video. It's the only time I've got a chance to do it, I'm afraid. So yeah, I hope you've enjoyed the video, and I hope you have a good rest of the week. And I'm sure I'll see your comments. Tell me what you think. And I'm sure I'll see some of you on Saturday at Huddersfield, at Oakwell, for the Huddersfield game, and also see me afterwards for my post-match video after Huddersfield. See you later, guys. Take care.